Welcome to another episode, and this one might be the most important one you watch because today I'm diving into 8 things you must do when making an offer on a home. These tips just won't help you get your offer accepted, but they can also save you thousands of dollars and things Rachel and I do in every single offer we write. I've broken it down into 8 things you need to do or watch for, and 3 things your realtor should be doing on your behalf. We're going to rotate between them. I'll cover 2 things you should do or be aware of, then 1 thing your agent should be doing, and we'll keep that pattern going the whole way through. The very first thing you need to check when your realtor sends over the offer for you to sign is section 4, line 74, and make sure it is set to 3 days or less. This line states that all contingencies will be satisfied and removed within a certain number of days, and most buyers have no idea how big a deal this actually is. For example, if you have a 30-day closing and the agent puts 15 days in that blank, which I have seen happen, or on a counter offer back to you that you don't even realize it's happening, then 15 days before closing, every single contingency is automatically removed. That means inspections are removed no matter what stage you're in. Your financing contingency is removed even if you haven't gone through final underwriting, and your appraisal contingency is also gone. If something comes up after those are removed, you're essentially SOL, and if you do back out of the home or find a problem, you lose your owner's money. So to protect my buyers, I always set this to 2 to 3 days before closing because even 7 days feels a little high in my opinion. And if your agent leaves them blank, which many do, that's a red flag because the default is 7 days and that can hurt you in the end. I've seen this tiny little detail cost buyers thousands of dollars, so please make sure your initial offer is set to 3 days or less and pay attention to the counter offer that the sellers are sitting back if they do. The next thing that can save you thousands, sometimes even upward of $50,000, is making sure if you're buying a new construction home that you're getting the builder incentives or at least negotiating for seller concessions. I can't tell you how many times Rachel and I have gotten our clients $25,000 in closing costs or a 2-1 buy down tossed in simply because we asked for it from the builder. Not every builder in our area offers incentives. If it is a full custom build and a really sought after builder, most likely they won't have incentives, but it never hurts to ask. But a good number of builders in our area do run promotions. They offer seller concessions or financing perks, and some agents don't know what these are or how to include them in the offer to begin with. I personally know of 2 families who missed out on $25,000 in builder credit because your agent didn't put it in the offer. It's a big oops. And as you can imagine, they weren't very happy. So please make sure you're getting every incentive available and that it is clearly written in the correct place in the offer. And if the builder isn't running a promotion, always go after closing costs instead of dropping the purchase price. There's a very specific reason why this benefits you more and you're more likely to get seller concessions or closing costs over dropping the price. So if you are curious of why that is, feel free to reach out, but it is a longer explanation than I want to put in this video. Hi, I'm Matthew Konkel, a real estate agent here in Eagle and the Treasure Valley. I make weekly videos all about what it looks like to live here and why I absolutely love calling this place home. From the best neighborhoods and hidden gems to the real pros and cons, I share it all so you can get an honest look at life in Idaho and see if it's a good fit for you and your family. And now to the first thing that your agent should be doing on your behalf, and this one might shock you, but it's making sure they fill out the forms correctly and completely. You would not believe how many offers Rachel and I have received on behalf of our sellers that are either half filled out or just filled out wrong. So here's the reality of this. The MLS stats show that around half of all agents sell 0 to 1 home a year, and roughly 70% sell 5 or fewer homes throughout the year. The real estate forms we use, from the purchase and sale agreement to the inspection contingency to those forms, these change multiple times throughout the year. The Association of Realtors is always making updates, and if your agent isn't staying up to date on these forms, the chances of them making a mistake are pretty high. I know it's hard for you as a buyer to catch these errors as it is not your responsibility, but at the very least, make sure the offer is fully complete and every blank is filled in. A simple mistake on paperwork can cost you big time, and this is something your agent should absolutely be on top of We have got our buyers a lot of incentives and some extra things simply because the listing agent doesn't even read the full offer and we just put it in included items. So please make sure that your agent is on top of the forms and knows how to fill them out correctly. Coming back to the things you need to be aware of, and one of the big mistakes buyers make is ignoring the seller needs. I can't tell you how many times our buyer's offer has been accepted even though we weren't the highest, and it was simply because of the terms and that we reached out to the listing agent and said, hey, what matters most to your clients? Sometimes the sellers want a quick close, other times they need a longer one. Maybe they prefer a fast inspection, or maybe they have 4 kids and want a longer time for inspection so they can clean up the house and get everyone out of the house. These details matter far more than most buyers realize. As the buyer, if we can make things easier or more convenient for the sellers, and it doesn't cost you a dime, your offer instantly becomes more attractive. So understanding the seller's needs can be the thing that wins you the home, even when the offers come in with a higher price. Like I said, we have won multiple situations where our clients did not have the highest offer, but our offers were filled out correctly and fully, and we had the best terms for the seller. The next one, and this one is always a big one, is making sure you're doing the correct inspections, not just the standard home inspection. Most buyers don't even realize that there are several options for inspections, and all of these can save you thousands of dollars. Sewer scopes, well inspections, septic inspections, water quality testing, mold inspections, foundation inspections, just to name a few. So please, please, please do a sewer scope. If you get anything out of this video, is to remember the word sewer scope and ask your agent to do one. I can't tell you how many times we found 5,000 to even 25,000 worth of issues in a sewer line that we were able to have the sellers fix, or at least negotiate, or we just simply walk away from the house, but at least you know about them. Especially in areas like Boise or neighborhoods with the mature trees like Two Rivers or Mace River, where those tree roots love to grow right into those sewer lines and punctures hole through them. We have also found mold in 4 homes just this year alone, and some agents really don't love adding these inspections on because it does make our job harder. You might decide not to buy the house. It might add on a lot more negotiation that I need to do. But as an agent, our job isn't to push you into the home. Our job is to show you all the pros and cons of and the potential issues of a house so you can make the informed decision if you want to buy said house. And yes, sewer scopes are important even for new construction. We found brand new sewer lines that weren't connected properly, had no grades. When you flushed your toilet, all the water would just make a little pool right in the middle of your sewer line. Or we've even seen some sewer lines that have too much grade where you flush, that water's hauling down your sewer line and it's smashing into where the connection to the city is, and then it is slowly degrading that connection. And a fun fact, if your sewer line has any issues connecting to the city, it is your responsibility to make the repairs, not the city's, which can get very, very expensive. In the end though, all of these inspections can save you a ton of money and major headaches down the line, so please make sure you're doing all of the proper inspections that you need, not just the basic home inspection. And now back to things that your agent should be doing, and this one to me is actually a pretty big deal. Your agent needs to know how to fill out the new construction contracts versus the regular purchase and sale agreements. A lot of builders use their own contracts, or what they call builder addendum, which makes sense because it includes important details like warranties, builder standards, construction timelines, and other terms specifically to new homes. The problem is that many agents don't exactly know how to read or explain these builder contracts and addendums, and I've seen it firsthand. Your agent should be walking you through the entire agreement so you understand everything. When your deposits are due, how many deposits are there, your exact closing date, can the closing date move, the deadlines for selecting finishes, your allowance amounts for things like cabinets, and what happens when you go over budget because you're responsible for the difference. That one has been in a few people in the butt when they think hey, I have a limited cabinet budget, and they spend $50,000 on cabinets when the budget was only $25,000, and now when it comes time to close, they're responsible for this $25,000 and they don't have the money. So new construction paperwork is not something an agent should be guessing or kind of wandering through. Make sure your agent is using actual experience with new construction, or at least they are willing to put in the work to fully understand the contracts. They don't have to be a new construction expert, but as long as they're versatile with the forms, that's all we're really looking here for. I just don't want you to be left with any surprises if your agent doesn't know how to read the contracts and you think there's one deposit when there's 3 deposits for triple the amount. And now for the next thing on our list, when it comes to writing an offer, there are actually a lot of ways your real estate agent can structure it to have a huge impact on your monthly payment and your closing cost. 2 very important things in my opinion are seller concessions, which can make a massive difference. We can use these seller concessions to pay for interest rate buy downs, a 2-1 buy down, 1-1 buy down, or even a 3-2-1 buy down. And if you don't know what those are, feel free to just email me, look them up, or ask your lender. But they are important just to have an idea of what they are. We can also use seller concessions to cover all or most of your closing costs. You don't really need to fully understand every type of buy down like I said, but you should be asking your agent, what would my offer and payment look like if we used a 2-1 buy down? What would my closing costs be if we had the seller pay all of my closing costs or part of my closing costs? This is also where having a great lender comes into play, because your lender will also be able to help you with this, because your lender will most likely be running your numbers, but your agent needs to be the one who has the idea and is in the driver's seat to be talking to the lender about this. The way your offer is structured can save you thousands, so please make sure your agent knows how to use and manipulate the seller concessions strategically in the offer. I just want to pause for a second. If you are serious about buying a home in Eagle, Idaho, or anywhere in the Treasure Valley, please reach out. I'd love to hop on a quick call and talk through your goals so we can figure out the best way for me to help you make the move here is. You can call, text, or email me anytime, day, nights, or weekends. I'm always here for you. You don't get a team member. It is my direct cell line, so you will be talking to me. I truly love living here and honestly couldn't imagine living anywhere else. I made a Living in Eagle, Idaho guide that covers the weather, events, my favorite neighborhoods, the towns, and the whole Treasure Valley. And I really made this guide specifically for people just like you watching this video, so feel free to download it down below. The next thing I see far too many agents doing is simply being lazy. They're not calling the listing agent before sending an offer, they're not including an offer summary or offer preview in the email, and they're not attaching proof of funds or a pre-approval letter. And yes, these things absolutely matter. When an agent doesn't take the time to call the listing agent, they miss out on that crucial information about the seller's needs, preferred timelines, or what they actually want in an offer. When they don't write that clean offer preview, the listing agent has to dig through all the paperwork just to figure out what's being proposed, which immediately puts your offer at a disadvantage. And when they fail to send proof of funds or the pre-approval letter, it signals weakness, uncertainty, or just lack of professionalism. And these small details add up, and they directly influence how the listing agent presents your offer to the seller. So make sure that your agent is not lazy. I'm sure you'll be able to tell this pretty easily. The next one on our list is something I see happen more often than it should, and that is making an offer too fast. The last thing you want is buyer's remorse, especially when it's likely the biggest purchase of your life. I've seen people fly in for a weekend, pick a house and start because they like the area without even taking time to visit Eagle and Meridian. And I met families who's rushed into a home, closed on it, and then regretted their decision almost immediately once they see what else is out there. They love the house in the moment, but once they get settled, they realize that the neighborhood didn't really fit their lifestyle, their commute was too long, or their city just wasn't what they thought it would be. So if you're watching this video, this probably won't happen to you because you're already doing more research than most buyers ever do, but it's still a good reminder to slow down, take the time to explore different areas, think about your long-term lifestyle, and make sure the house you fall in love with is also a house that truly fits all of your needs. A great home is wonderful, but the right home can change your life, and having buyer's remorse is never a good thing. So next up is not using your earnest money to your advantage. Earnest money is a good faith deposit included in your offer to show the sellers that you're serious and that you have some skin in the game. It goes towards your down payment or closing costs at closing, but if you back out for a reason not protected by your contingencies, you lose that earnest money as a buyer and the sellers get it. Most buyers put down typically around 1%, but you can absolutely put down more or even less. But here's the thing, I've seen deals fall apart simply because earnest money was too low and their sellers didn't want to risk wasting their time as the buyers had no skin in the game. On the other hand, I've had clients win a multiple offer situation because they decided to put down 5 or 10% in earnest money, and the sellers loved that level of commitment. Using earnest money strategically can make a difference and make your offer look much stronger, but it does come with some risks since you're putting more skin in the game. So just remember, this is one of the easiest ways to stand out though, especially when you're competing with other buyers who aren't willing to be that bold. But remember, it does come with risk. So another mistake I see a lot of buyers make is not knowing what they're actually paying for the home in terms of market value. I've had plenty of clients this year purchase homes that were actually on the higher side of the comps. I've also had clients fall in love with the home but say, you know what, we're only going to buy it if we get it below market value, and if not, we're just going to keep looking. And that's totally fine too. The truth is, it really doesn't matter whether you pay slightly under or slightly higher above market value if you plan to stay in the home long term. What does matter though is that you understand where the price sits in the current market conditions so you can make the choice intentionally to make sure it is a good choice. While I don't mind some clients paying a premium to get into a house, we don't want to be overpaying for the house and then it is a bad financial decision. We want to avoid situations like that. But when you know whether a home is priced low, fair, or high, you're able to make a confident decision based on your goals, not emotions or pressure. And that wraps up the biggest mistakes buyers make when writing an offer and how to avoid every single one of them. If you take anything away from this video, 1, do your sewer scope, and 2, slow down, understand what you're signing, work with an agent who actually knows what they're doing, and make sure you're protecting your money every step of the way. Buying a home is a huge decision, but it doesn't have to be a stressful one. And when you have the right people in your corner, your lender, your real estate agent, these transactions can go very smoothly. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about your current situation. My entire goal is to help you make a smooth move here and start living the life you're excited about. Everyone's situation is completely unique, so it really does help to talk through your plans to figure out what's going to be the right move for you and your family. And don't forget to download your Living in Eagle guide below. I made it specifically for anyone wanting to learn more about the neighborhoods, the lifestyle here in Eagle, and the entire Treasure Valley. So again, please reach out if you have any questions at all. You can find all my contact information down below, and I hope to chat with you soon. Oh, and feel free to watch another video here or here. Thank you for watching.